Come closer, closer, traveler. The fire's warm, and the road has been long. Many have stood where you stand now, so take a moment, sharpen your blade, and count your coin, for stories are traded here the same as the ale. Some are bought cheap, but others can cost everything. But don't worry, for this tale will be free, and begins where the firelight fades, marked by bronze. Episode 2. Callan was already awake, sitting on the edge of a narrow bunk, with his shield resting against the wall. Alira stirred beside the cold hearth, and Erin lifted her head instantly, eyes sharp even in the dim light. Silas groaned, somewhere in the shadows. "If that's breakfast," he muttered, "I'm logging a complaint." The knock came again, heavier this time. Callan opened the door. A guild runner stood there, cloak damp with mist, a bronze stamped scroll held flat against his chest. His eyes flicked past Callan, counting heads. "Party registration," he said. "You passed the trial. You're ordered to report to the gate." Silas blinked. "Ordered? That's encouraging." The runner didn't smile. "Entry briefing, gear check, transit assignment." He turned on his heel. 5 minutes, he added. "Don't be late." The door shut. For a moment one spoke. Lyra broke the silence first. "This is it," she said softly. Erin was already standing, buckling her quiver. "They don't summon failures." Callan reached for his shield, the familiar weight settling into place. "Then let's not become one." They stepped out into the mist-washed yard of Gatewatch, and that was when Callan saw them. Other parties waiting. They were not the only ones summoned. That much became clear as Callan and the others were guided back toward the edge of Gatewatch. A handful of other groups lingered near the marked stone. Some well-armed, others barely held together by borrowed gear and desperation. None spoke, all watched the gate. It loomed larger up close. The stone arches rose from the earth like the ribs of something long dead and badly buried. Ruins crawled along the surface, not glowing, not dormant, but present, as if the stone itself remembered being carved between the arches. The air wavered like heat over black iron, except this cold crept into the bones. A man waited beside the final marker. Not a clerk, not a trainer, a gate warden. His armor was older than the outpost. Scarred plate layered over chain, a cloak stitched, restitched until the original color, only a guess. The sigil of the Hunters Guild set into his pauldron, not polished, but worn smooth by years of use. He looked Callan over once, then the others. "Party of 4, he said, not a question. "Yes," Callan replied. The warden nodded and produced a small metal seal, pressing it briefly against each of their forearms in turn. The metal was cold, biting, leaving behind no mark, but a faint pressure that lingered beneath the skin long after he withdrew it. "Registered," the warden said. "If you turn back now, you're still recruits. Once you pass through, you're hunters, bronze pending." Silas tilted his head. "Pending sounds reassuring." The warden's mouth twitched. "It shouldn't," He turned slightly, gestured toward the path that vanished into the shimmer of the gate. Listen carefully, he continued. The other side is not the city, not the guild hall, not safety. Alira's eyes sharpened. Where do we emerge? Northward verge, the warden said. Frost Edge, old road. If you stray, you'll die. If you wander, you'll wish you had. Aaron spoke quietly. In the city? Follow the path, he replied. Don't cut through the woods. Don't chase sounds. Don't trust silence. He paused, then added, almost as an afterthought, the town is called Brackenfell. You'll see its light before you hear it. That's intentional. Callan nodded, committing the name to memory. Brackenfell. The warden stepped closer, lowering his voice. One more thing, he said. The gate doesn't like hesitation. When you step through, keep walking. Don't stop. Don't look back. And whatever you feel, his eyes flickered briefly toward the shimmer. Don't fight it. Silas swallowed. That's comforting. Alira placed a hand lightly on Callan's arm. Together, she said. And Callan looked to each of them. No speeches, no promises, just resolve. Together, he echoed. He stepped forward. The moment his boot crossed the threshold, the world bent. Sound vanished first, torn away like breath from lungs. Then came the pressure, not pain, not force, but presence, as if something vast pursed close, inspecting him for every angle at once. His thoughts scattered, memories flickered, steel ringing against shields, the smell of wolf blood, the crackle of the campfire, the weightlessness. Callan stumbled as gravity returned, boots striking packed earth instead of stone. Cold air rushed into his lungs. He staggered, catching himself just as Silas crashed into him from behind. With a startled curse, Alira gasped softly as she emerged next, her staff flaring instinctively with a dim amber glow. Aaron was last, silent, already scanning the tree line. The instant her feet hit the ground. The gate stood behind them, identical to the one they'd left, and yet unmistakably not the same. Stone was darker here, older, the runes deeper, more deliberate, and the forest watched. Towering pines loomed overhead, their branches tangled like grasping fingers. Mist clung low to the ground, curling around roots and stone. Somewhere in the distance something called, not a howl, not a cry, but a sound that suggested hunger remembered. Callan exhaled slowly. Everyone here? He asked. Silas flexed his fingers. Unfortunately, Alira nodded. The gate passed us through cleanly. Erin crouched, brushing her fingers across the ground. Paths here, she said, old, used, we stick to it. Ahead of them, barely visible through the mist, a narrow road cut through the woods. Packed dirt and broken stone, worn smooth by countless boots. And far off, like dying embers caught between the trees, lights. Brackenfell. Callan adjusted his shield, and the weight of it suddenly different. Heavier, more honest. No turning back now, he said. They stepped onto the path. Behind them, the gate shimmered once, then went still. The moment the gate went still, the forest seemed to breathe. Not outward, but inward. Callan didn't turn around. He didn't need to. The weight behind his shoulder told him enough. Whatever the gate had been moments ago, an opening, a passage, a promise, it was now simply there, closed, silent, unconcerned. Silas noticed it too. "I don't like doors that stop paying attention," he muttered. Then don't knock, Lyra replied quietly. The path stretched ahead of them, narrow and uneven, broadening, bordered by roots that clawed through the soil like grasping fingers. The mist thickened as they moved forward, curling around their boots, swallowing sound. Even their footfalls seemed reluctant to echo. Erin moved first, light and deliberate, eyes constantly shifting, not just ahead, but up, and to the sides and behind. Callan followed, shield held loose but ready. The familiar balance of it grounded him. Silas brought up the rear, daggers sheathed, but hands never far from them. "So," he said softly, "how far did our friend Gate Warden say Brackenfall was?" "He didn't," Callan replied. Silas sighed. "Naturally." The woods pressed close. Trees here were older than those outside the gate, thicker, darker, their bark etched with scars that looked less like age and more like memory. Moss clung to everything, heavy and wet. Muffling sound. Somewhere overhead branches cracked through there. Though there was no wind, Lyra slowed, staff lifting slightly. "Do you feel that?" Callan nodded. "It's like we're being watched." "Measured," Erin said. "Not hunted." That did little to ease the tension. They passed signs of others soon enough. A snapped spear half buried in the mud, torn scrap of cloth caught on thorns, faded almost beyond color. Further along, a weathered stone marker lay toppled beside the path, its rings worn smooth by time and neglect. Silas encountered near it, crouched near it, brushed away dirt. "Old guild mark," he said. "Bronze era, maybe older." "Meaning?" Callan asked. Silas straightened. "Meaning plenty have come this way, and not all returned." The path bent gently downhill, following the natural slope of the land. The mist thinned just enough for the lights ahead to grow clearer. Small, steady points of amber glow nestled low among the trees. Brackenfell was not large. That much was clear, even from a distance. It crouched rather than stood, its buildings pressed close together as if for warmth. A low wooden pile-side ringed at the outer edge, reinforced with stone in places where the time had proven wood insufficient. Smoke rose in thin columns for chimneys. The scent of burning peat and damp wood carried faintly on the air. As they drew closer, the sound reached them. Voices, metal on metal, the creak of gates, live. Callan felt something in his chest loosening. Not relief exactly, but the easing of a drawn bowstring. They weren't alone anymore. At the town's edge, the path widened into a shallow clearing. Two guards stood beneath a lantern fixed to a leaning post. Their armor bore the same sigil Callan had seen on the gate warden's pauldron. Hunters' Guild, though theirs was newer, less worn. One of them lifted a hand as the party approached. "Hold!" Callan stopped immediately, raising his free hand. You're registered. Past trial at Gatewatch. The guard studied them for a moment, eyes lingering on their weapons, their posture, the way they stood together without needing instruction. Names? The guard asked. Callan, he said, gesturing briefly to the others. This is Alira, Aaron, and Silas. The second guard glanced toward the faint shimmer of the gate far behind them, barely visible now through the trees. We came through together. Alira answered, yes. The guard nodded once. Good. Keeps the paperwork cleaner. He stepped aside, pulled the gate open just enough. Welcome to Brackenfall, he said. Try not to die inside the walls. It makes things awkward. Silas grinned. We'll do our best. Inside Brackenfall felt tired, not broken, not ruined, just worn. Buildings leaned into one another like old soldiers sharing weight. Repairs were everywhere. New planks beside ancient beams, patches over patches. The streets were packed dirt and stone, uneven but well-trodden. People moved with purpose, eyes alert, hands never far from tools or their weapons. The tavern sat near the center, its sign swinging lazily. The Split Pine. Further in, Callan spotted it, a larger structure of stone and timber, reinforced at every corner. Lanterns burned bright above its doors, and a familiar sigil hung proudly from a wrought iron bracket. The Hunters' Guild Hall. Aaron glanced toward it. That's where we go. Callan nodded. That's where we earn our bronze. Officially. Alira exhaled slowly, the tension finally showing in her shoulders. And find out what surviving the gate actually costs. Silas rolled his neck, eyes gleaming with equal parts curiosity and caution. Well, he said, let's see what kind of welcome awaits for us. The four of them turned towards the guild hall together. Behind them, the forest settled once more, and far beyond the trees the gate remained silent, patient as stone, and just as unforgiving. This concludes our tale for this evening. Not all journeys begin with glory. Some begin with permission. Until next time, tread carefully if you wish to hear more of this tale.